All right, the thing is, the company that makes Sharpies told the Washington Post the conversation the president said he had with the head of Sharpie about those pens never happened, which means if true, he made it up and interrupted a cabinet meeting to tell a story he fabricated or hallucinated about his favorite pen. Again, this is not the first time he's been caught making stuff up. Here he is talking about Maryland Governor Wes Moore last summer.
I met him at the Army-Navy game. They said, "Oh, there's Governor Moore. He'd love to see you." He came over to me, he hugged me, shook my hand. You were there. He said, "Sir, you're the greatest president of my lifetime."
Okay, so Wes Moore quickly came out and said that conversation was imaginary. It never happened. The month before that, the White House struggled to defend a story the president told about his uncle, John Trump. He had claimed taught Ted Kaczynski, a.k.a. the Unabomber, at MIT, except John Trump died more than a decade before Kaczynski was identified, and Kaczynski never attended MIT. He's told that story multiple times in the past. I could go on, and, I will for a moment longer. There's the yarn he told about a former president recently telling him they wish they had Trump's courage to go into Iran. They have all denied it, all the living presidents. There's the one where he claimed Tucker Carlson reached out to profusely apologize amid a MAGA split over U.S. involvement in Israel's strikes on Iran, which Carlson has flat out denied. There are also the countless stories about his friends, friends who are getting cheaper, quote, fat shots overseas, or the friends who claim they've seen illegal voting, or the boat company owners who complain about electric engines and then praise him for being smart enough to ask about electrocution and whether it's better to be electrocuted by a boat battery or eaten by a shark in the ocean. While a lot of this has always just been part of who Donald Trump is, a man who works the room, seeks attention, seeks applause, he's now about to be 80 years old, and he's launched a war that he does not seem to have a plan for.
Address this a little bit in the opening, but just to follow up, because Americans are sort of seeing these conflicting messages between the United States and Iran. I know the president insists that negotiations are underway. As you just mentioned, he's also said that Iran has agreed to most of the 15 points. We just heard from Iran again. They're saying no negotiations are taking place. They're calling the proposal excessive, unrealistic. So how do you square that? How do you explain that discrepancy between the two?
I think the American people are smart enough not to take the word of a terrorist regime that has chanted death to America for 47 years at their word. And I hope the journalists in this room are wise enough not to take an Iranian regime that has repeatedly lied about our country, about our values, about everyone in this room, frankly, for nearly 5 decades. So I think the American public are smart enough to understand that.
Who exactly the U.S. is negotiating with in Iran, and why the U.S. and this administration trusts that person?
Again, as I said to Gabe's question earlier, we're not going to get into the details of these negotiations and conversations that continue to take place. As of course you can imagine, they are very sensitive diplomatic discussions. And I would reiterate, I do recall giving all of you the same answer when we were negotiating the ceasefire between Israel and Gaza. Gave you the same answer throughout the 12-day war between Iran and Israel. Gave you the same answer with respect to many of the other global conflicts that this administration has negotiated solutions to. President Trump is going to give his diplomats the freedom that they need to have these sensitive diplomatic discussions without negotiating and litigating them through the news media.
This is regime change, right?
What makes you trust them?
I don't trust anybody. I don't trust you. I mean, that's only because I know you. But if I didn't know you, I'd probably have more trust. But I don't trust anyone.
Why bother?
Why do you say that? Why do you say what makes you trust? Do you think I trust them? I don't trust them.
Then why bother talking to them?
Because they're going to make a deal. They're going to make a deal. They did something yesterday that was amazing, actually. They gave us a present, and the present arrived today. And it was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. And I'm not going to tell you what that present is, but it was a very significant prize. And they gave it to us, and they said they were going to give it, so that meant One thing to me, we're dealing with the right people.
News about Donald Trump is that he lies as easily as he breathes. And I mean, like, his whole administration, despite the fact that they're all a bunch of liars as well, they're really struggling to keep up with whatever he's posted or said on Truth Social just that night. Donald Trump doesn't really have a fundamental understanding of anything whatsoever. What he does know is con and swindle and jive. That's what he knows. That's what he does. He's always making stuff up, always pulling things out of his ass. And, you know, dude was on the campaign trail talking about Hannibal Lecter and electric boats and getting shocked or choosing a shark and talking about Arnold Palmer.
He took showers with the other pros. They came out of there, they said, oh my God, that's unbelievable. I had to say it. We have women that are highly sophisticated here.
And talking about nuke the hurricanes and, I mean, like, pretty much anything you can think of, there he is babbling about it. Now, obviously, one of the bigger dangers of that is that now we're literally waging war in the Middle East, potentially causing World War III. We have no idea how long this is going to go on. We have no idea how this is going to come to a close. But Donald Trump just making things up as one day he says, everything is well, you know, we've come to an agreement after our negotiations, the strait's going to be open, everything's going to be great. And then the next day he's like, we're going to blow them off the face of the earth. Then the next day he's like, we'll wait 10 days to blow them off the face of the earth. All the while, Iranian officials keep coming out saying that no negotiations are being had. None of this is actually taking place. So there's no way to follow it. And then with Pete Hegseth and all the stuff he's doing, he basically comes out and tells us to shut up and mind our business. Why should we be asking questions about what the military's doing? So this is really just a complete disaster. And, you know, Donald Trump, for as long as he's been on the political scene, and longer than that, has just been making things up as he goes along.